Hey there, and welcome. If you've ever dreamt about growing your own amazing, delicious food, but the thought of all that hard work, the digging, the weeding, just put you off, well, you are in the perfect place. We're about to explore this really joyful, sustainable way to garden that actually works with nature, not against it. And I think you'll find it's way easier and so much more rewarding than you ever imagined. So be honest, when you hear the word gardening, does your back start to ache just thinking about it? The endless digging, the sore muscles, and that constant uphill battle with weeds. It feels like that for so many of us, right? You spend all this energy turning over the soil, you plant your beautiful little crops, and then bam, an explosion of weeds just takes over, and you spend the rest of the summer fighting them. It can feel totally relentless. Now, look, tilling is how most of us were taught to garden. It makes sense on the surface, doesn't it? You break up the ground, you get this nice loose bed for your seeds. But what we're learning is that this constant churning of the soil, it actually ends up creating way more problems than it solves. Okay, so here's the bottom line. Tilling is like a quick fix with some really bad long-term side effects. Every time you dig, you're just pulling up millions of dormant weed seeds and bringing them to the light, which means, you guessed it, more work for you. It also completely wrecks the soil's natural structure, which leads to compaction and erosion. One farmer even described seeing these black clouds of soil just blowing off his tilled fields. That's your topsoil, your most precious resource, literally vanishing into thin air. No-till, on the other hand, well, it's about building a healthier, stronger garden that gets better every single year. Wow, this quote just paints such a powerful picture, doesn't it? Tilling is literally like putting a city into a Godzilla-sized blender. Because that's what's under our feet, a thriving, microscopic metropolis. You've got beneficial bacteria, earthworms doing their thing, and these incredible fungi that create this amazing web with your plant roots, helping them find water and nutrients. And tilling, it just tears that entire living network to shreds. So if tilling is the problem, what's the answer? Well, it's actually a really simple but kind of profound shift in how we think. We need to stop fighting the soil and start feeding it. And that, right there, is the whole philosophy behind no-till gardening. At its very heart, no-till or no-dig gardening is all about protecting that underground city we talked about. Instead of turning the soil over, we just layer organic stuff, like compost, right on top. Then we let the real experts, the worms and the microbes, do all the hard work of mixing it in. We're basically just copying what nature does all on its own in a healthy forest. And the results? They're incredible. Because you're preserving the soil's structure, you get way better drainage, so your plant's roots don't get waterlogged. A healthy soil life makes more nutrients available to your plants and even helps them fight off pests and diseases. Oh, and the best part? For sure, the best part is fewer weeds and a lot less heavy lifting for you. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually get started? I mean, especially if you're just looking at a patch of lawn or a really weedy area. You are going to be shocked at how simple this is. Let's just walk through the steps together. This is the absolute magic of what people call the lasagna method, and it works like a charm. First, you just lay down some plain brown cardboard. Make sure you pull off any plastic tape. And you overlap the edges really well so no light can get through. This smothers all the grass and weeds. Then you just add a nice thick layer of compost right on top. And that's it. Seriously, you can plant your little seedlings right into that compost layer on the very same day. I just love this quote from the no-till pioneer Charles Dowding because it perfectly captures that feeling of instant gratification. There's no waiting around. You can literally turn a patch of your lawn into a productive garden bed in less time than it takes to brew a pot of tea. It's just a perfect example of working smarter, not harder. So, creating the bed is step one. Easy enough, right? From here on out, your main job is just to protect and feed that amazing soil life that you've started to build. It really all comes down to just a few simple guiding principles. This is it. This is the golden rule. You have to resist that urge to dig or turn the soil. Every single time you stick a shovel in there, you're setting back that delicate ecosystem you're trying to grow. Just let the soil organisms do their thing, undisturbed. Nature really does not like bare soil. If you leave it exposed, weeds will show up almost instantly to try and cover it. So we can work with that tendency by keeping our garden beds covered, either with our growing plants or with a protective layer of mulch. It's like a blanket that protects the soil from drying out and eroding. Now here's a tip that might feel a little weird at first. When one of your plants is done for the season, instead of ripping the whole thing out, just chop it off right at the soil line. Those roots that are left behind, they'll decompose right there in the ground, feeding all the soil microbes and creating these tiny little channels for air and water. They're basically a free source of amazing organic matter. All right, let's talk about your secret weapon, mulch. It is like a cozy blanket for your soil. It keeps the weeds down, it holds in precious moisture, and it slowly breaks down to feed everything. Think of it like a continuous, slow-release fertilizer. Things like straw and wood chips are what we call browns, and they build fantastic soil structure. Fresh grass clippings are greens, and they give a quicker boost of nitrogen. They're all great options.
Okay, so you've stopped digging, you're feeding your soil, you've tucked it in with a nice layer of mulch. What's the ultimate payoff for all this loving care? Well, it's only the most delicious and nutritious food you have ever tasted.
I'm telling you, there is a world of difference in the taste of a carrot grown in dead dirt with chemical fertilizers and one that's grown in rich, living soil. That complex web of life under the surface gives your plants a whole buffet of nutrients, and that translates directly into incredible flavor and more nutrition for you. And here's a really cool bonus that science is just starting to understand. That fresh produce from your garden, it's carrying beneficial microbes from the soil that are amazing for our own digestive systems. So when you eat that carrot you just pull from the ground, you're not just feeding yourself, you're nurturing your own internal ecosystem too. How cool is that? At the end of the day, this is really what it's all about. No-till gardening is so much more than just a technique. It's a way to reconnect with nature, to boost your own health, and to just experience that simple, profound joy of growing your own food. It's a process that nourishes everything: the soil, your body, and your spirit. You know, the journey begins with just a single step. Or, in this case, maybe a single piece of cardboard and a bag of compost. You have everything you need to get started today. So really, the only question left is, what are you going to plant?